Kyle sat back, and he drew a picture of this on our 1-year anniversary, and he's like sitting back with his hand behind me. And I remember just being so nervous, but that's when I feel like I knew like it was a spark, it was love. I just knew that he was a good person and that he loved me for me and my flaws. We went to dinner with a couple, and I was complaining at dinner that Kyle hadn't proposed to me and I was getting anxious. And we got lost at dinner, and we were in a parking garage. And I'm like, Kyle, why are we in a parking garage? And then he smiled. And whenever Kyle smiles, it means he's really nervous. So at that moment, I took my ring off that I always wore on my finger because I knew he was gonna propose. And there are candles and rose petals everywhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And Kyle was like, stand right there. I put the ring in the safe because I had to go have dinner. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my husband, or soon to be husband. Of course, I like grabbed his face and like kissed him, and then I took it out, and he was like, is it the ring you wanted? And I was like, it's everything I wanted and more. Kyle had rented the room for the night, and I had to teach the next day. And Kyle brought like a dress, 5 pairs of pants, 1 contact, the straightener but not the curling iron, and it was just the most romantic moment because I knew like he wanted this to be special. And when I told my dad started crying. I told him I want to get married at Grandma and Grandpa's farm. He goes, I want you to get married here. In my dad's office, he always took aerial shots of the farm every few years, and it's funny to see where it started and how it continues to grow and prosper each year. It's because of my father working so hard at what he does. So you watch these people and all these farmers around you and how successful they've become, and that's what I want to take from this. That's what I want to take from the farm. I think it's always a place that I can come back to. It's always a community that's going to love me for me. It's somewhere that I feel safe. When it came to my wedding, I had this sense of wanting it to be elegant, but wanting that natural feel. And I remember driving around and looking at things like this, that the city of Monticello does such a great job of keeping the natural element and uniqueness of this town. I've always been inspired by the people that create such beautiful work, and I wanted that work to be displayed in my own wedding. I got into the I Do magazine, and people were so knowledgeable of my wedding because it was this big grand event, but it solely had a focus on Monticello and all the people that helped me get the wedding to what I wanted it to be. When I originally started thinking about ShayChicEvents and what I wanted it to be, I thought to the local community, and everybody that I talked to in Monticello gave me the time. They were patient. They wanted to make it unique and creative for me. My husband has made me into a dreamer and a believer that all things are possible. And I said to him, I think I want to pursue wedding planning. And he was like as a hobby? Yeah, I think I want to do this as a hobby, but I want it to develop into a dream. So he told me all these things to do and how to like get my name out. When I see the big picture, I see chic, elegant, simplistic, and a story. We're at the park where my husband and I met for the first time. I was very, very sentimental with the fact that when we got married on our wedding day, I wanted Kyle to see me for the first time here. And I think that was the only time I actually cried on my wedding day, was the anticipation of seeing him for the first time. It's memories like this that tell your story. I remember looking out in that crowd because Kyle and I faced the crowd, and so many people were crying. And I didn't understand like why everybody was crying. And then I found out that it was how the story affected them. And that's what an event is all about. You know, that's what weddings are all about. You go and you fall in love all over again, not worrying about everybody else. And if there's a tent over their head or if it's pouring down rain, it doesn't matter. What matters is you are telling your story, and I got to tell mine, and I can't wait to tell everybody else's for ShayChicEvents.